Hello everybody, I'm back again. Here to do another video here. This time it's going to be a Super Nintendo collection video for 2018. I got some new games since I did my last collection. And yeah, here we go. I'm only going to show all the cartridges. I do have one of these boxes I could show, but I'm not going to show it. In fact, this is the game right here that I'm talking about. First one up is The Adventures of Batman and Robin, which, based off of the TV series with the same name, and I guess it's pretty good. I also have that for the Sega Genesis now, so. Next up is The American Gladiators, based off of the sports show that was on back in the 90s and 80s, I think. Oh wait, screw that up. There we go. Next up, another one that is not new yet, Batman Returns, which based off of the this is based off the 1992 movie, I think it is, or was it 1991? Anyway, next up, a video game based off of a TV show that Howie Mandel himself created, Bobby's World. Which is pretty good. And of course we got Bubsy. This one's pretty good. It's probably the only decent Bubsy game, though, honestly. I haven't played the 3D one or the latest one that came out. Next up, and the reason why I'm showing this next is because of what it says on the title, on the top, rather. You might think this game should be shown later on, but anyway, I'm going to show it right now. That is Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster Busts Loose. But on the top, it says, I don't know if you can see it, it says Buster Busts Loose on it. It doesn't say Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster Busts Loose on it, so that's why I'm showing it now. The same thing can be said for this next one, which I do have the box for, Super Castlevania 4. As y'all know, I'm a huge Castlevania fan, which this one here is a good one. It's a lot of people's favorites next to alongside from Symphony of the Night. Next up is another Castlevania game, Dracula X, which I've played so many times on YouTube, I think, over the years. I did take a 3-year-long hiatus from playing this game on YouTube, though, I think it was a 3-year-long hiatus. Almost 3 years. Anyway, this is that's a good game. This is one of the newer ones that I haven't shown yet, and I got this one today along with several others. Chrono Trigger. But the battery, I think, is messed up on this, but oh well, I'll get it replaced one of these days. And this next one's another one I got today. Clay Fighter, which is also out on the Genesis, which I've played that version. I did play this one a little bit just to test it out. This next one is not a new one. That is Contra 3, The Alien Wars, which I don't think this one really works too well anymore. I think I'll play for a little bit. But I do have the Super Famicom version of this as well. But I might showcase the Super Famicom collection later on. I only have 4 games for it, though. Could have done it with this video, but I didn't think about it. Up next, it's a game that's also been released for the Sega Genesis, Cool Spot. And recently, I think it was, maybe not recently, but anyway, Console Wars YouTube channel did a video about this game on both the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. They've done that for a lot of ones too. They also did one for Booger Man, which I have on the Genesis, but not on Super Nintendo. Anyway, next is a trilogy of games. We got, Donkey Kong Country 1, Donkey Kong Country 2, the best one of the whole series, I think. That one's also known as Diddy's Conquest. And Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble, which this one came out a couple months after the N64 came out. And the next is not a trilogy, but there's two games for it, and I have the N64 version of this as well. Earthworm Jim 1 and Earthworm Jim 2. Not beaten any of these yet. Next up, one that I have shown in a video update from a few years ago, Eye of the Beholder, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I only played this like one time, I think. And I've done this game on YouTube before. I think I have anyway, The Family Feud. Which, this is based off of the Ray Combs era Family Feud. Up next, I had the first one on the NES, and I had the second and third one on the Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy II and Final Fantasy III. And I do also have 7 and 8, I think, on the PS1. I think that's, beyond that, that's all my Final Fantasy games. Next up is a good racing game. And I think Cinemassacre, a.k.a. Mike from who works for Cinemassacre, did a live stream for this on Cinemassacre Plays, F-Zero. Which I did this, I think maybe the only time I played this was for my SNES marathon that I did a couple years ago, I think. But I had to meet the TV, I think, because they were being a little picky with the copyrights. We'll say that. Next one, this is the one I got today, and that is Goof Troop, another Capcom game. I was thinking this was going to be a platform, but I don't think it really is. Might be like a puzzle type thing or something. Not to the same extent as Tetris, obviously, but oh well. Anyway, next up, you could say, well, actually, I made a mistake on this. I didn't see that this said Disney's Goof Troop right there, so I'll have to change the logo there, or the rearranging. So I apologize for that. But next is another game show trilogy, I guess you could say, which is Jeopardy, which I had this one complete in box, Jeopardy Deluxe Edition, and the Sports Edition of Jeopardy. Next up is the Jetsons' Invasion of the Pirate Planets. I think the only Jetsons game that was ever released for the Super Nintendo, and I don't think this is very common either. It's not expensive, but I don't think it's expensive, but I haven't seen it a lot of it. I haven't seen it in a lot of people's SNES collections. Next up, Killer Instinct, made by Rareware. This is the black cartridge, which is very cool, I gotta say. They also did Killer Instinct Gold. I think it was on the N64, and the Xbox One has a one or two Killer Instinct games as well. Now, because now that Rareware is part of Microsoft, and I do have an Xbox One now, so I can show y'all my Xbox One collection pretty soon. Just to let you know. Next up, King of Dragons, and I think that's all it says. It's King of Dragons. Not too bad, I don't guess. Had to have it cleaned up before though, the inside of it. Next up is a Kirby game, Kirby Superstar. 8 games in 1. Now there's also a couple other ones that I saw. One of them I saw today. I just didn't get it. The other one I think is called Kirby's Dream Land 3, which I think is expensive. But I might get that, but here it is if I didn't show it. See if this is right. Yeah, I guess it is. Anyway, next up is The Lion King, which I also have for the Genesis now. And I did a couple plays of this, I think, on YouTube. I did have another channel that I played it on too. One time. That was Castlevania Manchester 1995. But I closed that channel years ago, so. But anyway, here's another trilogy of games. Mega Man X1, X2, and X3. I also have Mega Man 2 and 5, I believe, for the NES. That's all I've got, though, I think, for Mega Mans. My first Mega Man, if y'all are wondering, was the one on the PlayStation, Mega Man Legends. And there was a sequel to that, which I didn't play. Anyway, here's a new game I got, and this one I'm going to say, if LeavesFan18 is watching this, he's going to be really happy I got this game. MONOPOLY. Monopoly, Monopoly, Monopoly. MONOPLLY. I got this one today, yes. And I played it for a little. I didn't finish it. It was kind of lengthy, but I'll go ahead and I'll do another playthrough when I've tested out everything I got. I did also get some PS2 games too. But next up is Ninja Gaiden Trilogy, which is the first 3 Ninja Gaiden games on the NES put together on Super Nintendo. This game is really rare, though. I won't say how much I paid for it. I'm not sure I can remember it anyway. But, anyway, next up is a sequel to a classic arcade game, Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures. This is okay, but it's kind of like a point-and-click game, and I'm not really that good at those. Now, this one, I don't think I've shown it, but I got it before today, so. And this cover art is really weird. Thanks. But this is like a space shooter type game. Kind of like Gradius. Gradius. I think it's what it's called. This one I got today, and this one I got because my mom is a big fan of this franchise. ScoobyDoo Mystery. Now this game is alright. I played it a little bit. It does work. I might give this game another bash. And I think I screwed up the order here. Oh well, I'll fix it back. This is how it's supposed to go. Let's see. What was the last game I showed? I think it was. Yeah, it was ScoobyDoo Mystery, I think. Sorry about the screw up. Next up is a game that I also have for the Wii, and now I have this game complete in box. Super Mario All-Stars. This is the Kart only version I have, but the box version I've got put up somewhere. Then, of course, we got another classic, Super Mario Kart, which this is a good game, I guess, as well. I kind of prefer F-Zero, though, honestly. Not the franchise F-Zero. I think overall, as far as the franchises are concerned, Mario Kart would probably be the better one. But as far as the first game is concerned, of both franchises, F-Zero is the better one. Then, of course, is Super Mario RPG, The Legend of the Seven Stars, which this is not too bad. It's kind of expensive, but I didn't pay as much for it as I did some of the other ones. And I think I forgot to show this one, so I'll just leave it go. But Hagani, I forgot to show this one. I'll just keep the video going, though. I do apologize. I've made so many screw-ups today. It's been a long day, I guess. Next up is Super Mario World. Well, did I show Hagani? Oh, well, never mind. I'm sorry if I made any mistakes, but anyway, here's Super Mario World. Fun classic game. As if it wasn't obvious. Next up, this one I got a while ago, a few years ago actually. Super Metroid. Probably the best Metroid game there ever was. I do have the Metroid Prime games, the Wii versions of them. And then, of course, this one and the next one are games I got today as well. They are Street Fighter II, the original Street Fighter II, and Tetris and Dr. Mario. And I think that's all the new ones I got. Next up is this one's a little bit yellowed on, I guess, but it still works. It's Toy Story, which I did this game a few times on YouTube. But I think this is the first video game I played on YouTube back in 2010 when I first joined. Next up, and I think I screwed up again, Super Mario World Return to Dinosaur Land. Here we go. This is what it is. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make these mistakes. I got a lot of these games today, so I do apologize. Next up is Ninja Turtles 4 Turtles in Time. Best beat 'em up ever. Best Turtles game ever. That's all I gotta say. Let's see what's next. I don't know if I've shown this one yet. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. This one's good. I'm not good at fighting games, though. I should have mentioned that already. But here's something I am good at, and there's 2 games from this franchise, I guess, or something like that. For the Super Nintendo, anyway. I don't know if I should say franchise, but it's based on a game show. Wheel of Fortune and Wheel of Fortune Deluxe Edition. It's a shame there was no Deluxe Edition of Wheel of Fortune on the Sega Genesis, like there was Jeopardy, and Jeopardy had Sports Edition as well. Next up, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Based off of not the game show, but the PC game, I think, from back in the 80s and 90s. And there's a game show based on it. Next up is Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Not too bad, though Baby Mario can be kind of annoying when he tries. Next up is a pretty good game. A lot of people's favorite game in this franchise. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Which I actually beat since I showed this last time, I think. And 100% it, actually. And next up, this is the last one. Don't know if I've shown this yet, but it's Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Which this one's pretty good. It's from Konami. Okay, let me go ahead and see how many games that is now before I end this video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. 58 games, that is, if I counted correctly. And again, I do apologize for the screw-ups, but I'll go ahead and exchange Goof Troop around for I'll put it somewhere else where it needs to go. Anyway, that'll do it for this collection. See you all for the next video.